Okay, we are going to go through the judges' duties in general. I'll stand here, I think. Yeah. We want to inform you about when you're on duty and you are to imply a rule, obviously you should be loyal to the rule, and when something is set, you don't question it. If you don't question it, you will remain loyal. And about improving the judging techniques, you learn the rules from the book, but the techniques are practical things that you learn in competitions. I'm just going to give you some examples. So you will not read this in the rules. So when, as my colleague said, sometimes to prevent things, I'm going to tell you some stories. It might be nice. We have time. In one of the European Championships, world ranking events, a record was not taken on a team match because the composition of the team was not correct. So when you get on the line, it's individual, it's team. You usually get 2 ends or 3 ends of practice. On the very first end that they practiced, you check the names. You have the names. Sometimes it's on the shooting line, and sometimes you have it by the brackets. And we had a question yesterday that who stands on the left, who stands on the right. So if this is the bracket, that's what I do. I just turn it. So it's left, right. But sometimes you prevent many things. For example, we have had some professional archers, even from my country, Olympic gold medalist, okay? In Asian Games, she was not there at the time of her competition, and she lost by the rule of forfeit. So it can happen. So if the judge knew on the official practice before the few ends, if they check the names and see somebody is not there, we call the DOS, call the champs, say somebody is missing. Okay, the second end of practice, so she could have got a medal. We have a rule in the team match that if you're going to change the composition of a team, so if somebody is coming with 4 members and the team manager, the coach wants to change one, they have a certain rule that they must fill in a form, sign, and give it to chairman of judges or the result team. So in a European Championship, I was telling you, the judge just checked that Chinese Taipei is there with India. The judge didn't look at the names, and they had the wrong composition. One of them was different. They shot, they won. I'll say Chinese Taipei as an example. It wasn't Chinese Taipei. They shot, they won, and after they found out that it's a wrong composition, they take the medal away from them. Okay? So these are the things that you will learn by practice. In a team event, when, sometimes we have a big lane, sometimes in a team event we do like 1/8 for recurve, compound, men, women, all together. Usually it's like that. And sometimes the field is very restrained. I have had a few occasions with the team USA, with the team Kazakhstan, I remember. If you go and stay where you want to stay on the first end of practice, they know that you are going to be occupying that space. So in their practice, when they go and come out, they know that you're standing there. I had a lady from Kazakhstan, no, a lady in your team. I had her in Asia, in Bangkok, where I was chairman, and also in Guangzhou. She has a technique, maybe, that some other people, that when she shoots, she does this. Okay, when she shoots, I don't know what, maybe she's right-handed. When she shoots, and she does. So I watched her a few times. It's her technique, and she's quite large. Yeah. So I thought maybe she likes me, but I thought that when she does, and on many occasions when she goes like that, and I was aware, I knew this in the practice, that this is what she does. I'll come to you in a minute. This is what she, so I knew in the match when she was going, so every time she was doing that, and I was doing like this, okay? I cooperate with her because it wasn't a safety issue. On this side, we had a lot of space. So these are the things you will learn in practice. Or we have an American good compound archer. He's a big guy. I mean, we can't take. So he was also, we were very strained. So I knew that I'm going to have some problems standing there. And you have to do what you have to do. You have to stand in a way that you can see what is happening. So you're alert. These things you will learn practically. It's not in the book. Yeah. So we have some things that I didn't cover. We have some do's and don'ts. This is in the Judge Guidebook. And do not let your attention to wander from your duty. Sometimes, for example, we had the championship in Iran, in my country, and there was, it was Asian Championship. It's a big championship, and for the first time, Tom Dillon, World Archery Secretary General, was actually coming to Iran, and obviously, when he came, he had a lot of attention. So when he was walking, we had the Olympic Committee director, and we had like about 10 people walking with him. So when he came, you could see that somebody is here. And I noticed we had two judges who kept on looking back and said, who is coming? The competition is here. Anytime somebody can throw the arrow before the 3 meter. Anytime something can happen. Do not let your mind wander from what is happening outside. And to show a good image, do not chat much with your country people at the competition, although they come to you. We have many Iranian judges here. I try to speak to them when I'm off duty. It doesn't give a good image. Now, I give you an example. Our great teacher Morton was telling me, in a championship in Turkey, maybe 15 years ago, World Championship, there was a team who didn't have an agent. You know what an agent is? Yeah? So they went to the final, and you need to have somebody representing your team and sign, as Indranil said. So this guy was a friend with Mr. Morton, who was chairman of Judge Committee at the time. He asked him, can you be my agent the last minute? And he said yes. So when Morton was representing him in the blind, there was a doubtful arrow. Okay? So the judge, so as an agent, he asked the judge. At the time it was like this, the agent could ask. Now you will check it. he asked the judge, can you read this? Now, you can imagine that, like, I am the chairman of the judge committee, and I ask a continental judge who just came in, can you read this? It might give a bad image that this judge is going to give the benefit of doubt to me in a way. Do you understand? So try not to get in those positions. And when you chat at a long time with your countrymen or with even a special archer, it gives that image. Okay? Well, I don't have to tell you about taking cameras, taking a selfie when you're on duty, making a phone call. These things are not allowed. It doesn't give a good image. So when you wear the judge uniform, it doesn't matter, it's the organizing committee gives you or it's the World Archery, you wear it with pride. I tend to think of this, when you're going to an embassy to get a visa, you get yourself ready, you wear nice clothes, you prepare your documents. When your number is there, you go, you smile, you say good morning. You have to think exactly when you wear these clothes, you're here for a duty, and you respect this dress, you respect the rules. This is how you must think about this. Sometimes you will take, as I told you, you have to apply the rules fairly. Sometimes when you want to protect the score of the archer, when it says firmly, sometimes you have to take away the score of the other one. If you want to take away, you take it firmly. Okay? A friend of mine was saying that if you make a decision, even if it's wrong, you must be very confident, you must look good. That means, you have thought about it. It's not we call it a lazy decision. You must be very firm sometimes. You offer polite assistance. If an athlete asks you, the coach asks you, try and be polite. That's when you warn the coach, you don't shout at the coach. This sport doesn't accept that. Some of the things is just, I'm just not going to talk about it, it's just respecting the sport, basically. So the duties, as I said, preparation before the competition, during the competition, and after competition. This mainly goes when you get a duty. So when you are assigned to a world ranking event, competition, you must make contact with the chair and the OC and respond to them. So sometimes, I had a case in Bangkok where I was the chairman. The organizing committee, they're very busy. They want information about your ticket. I write to the concerned judge that give me the information. I'll wait, there is no information, there is no information. Some judges have 2 emails. So he would not reply to me. So I see something is wrong. So I wrote to a friend of mine who was a judge there, and he said, oh, that was an old email. You must update your emails with World Archery Asia. Whenever even if you're national, if you're applying, your emails must be the updated email. It will be your fault. So looking at the event information and the schedule, again, these are the practical things, you must not be the last person to know when is the elimination for recurve, at least what day. Now, I'll tell you this why. Sometimes when you know how many participants are there and you're reading the book, and when you pass the rule, says if there is a cut in the qualification at stage 104, what do you do? sometimes when you have the list of participants, you will know there will not be a tie. So you will not get ready. Do you understand? So you have to be familiar. So if they ask you, it doesn't look a good image that the judge doesn't know when is the elimination, at least which day. You must be focused. So if in the middle of an end, I've had it many times, the archer says, judge, is this the third end? You must be aware that you don't give that trust, that this guy doesn't even know which end it is. And you must be around. When I say you must be aware, when you go, they give you targets that they say, like when I was in Las Vegas for the indoor World Cup, I had 30 targets, 3-0, and 120 arches. So when they called, I was running. So I was ready. As soon as the match goes, it is, okay, this was an exception, but it is not good when you give you 8-9 targets, you're looking down. When they're shooting, you must be very focused and very alert to give assistance. And when you go by the target and you take your position, I've seen sometimes they say, judge, okay, this is not your target, but the judge is engaged doing another target. You give your assistance and you walk. This is something I don't like. As I said, when they call you, this is not holiday, Yes, I'm coming. It's not like that. And you dress, as I said, you wear it with pride. If your dress is clean, if you're neat, you earn that respect. And when you walk, it's long days, 5 days, 6 days. I see you walk in a line and you stand straight. You don't chew gum. It doesn't give a good image. You drink too much. You understand? You have to earn that respect from the archers, from the coaches. And this takes time. These were the things that you do during the competition. And as my colleague said, when you're measuring distance, use equipments that you're familiar with. If you're using a caliper and you don't know how to lock it, it's not good. You practice with, I know many judges who know how to measure on paper, but they've never practiced it. It's never come to them. Make sure you take all your, the things you need. Yesterday, Karen was in the room and he said, on this occasion, if this happens, you cut the face. What are you going to cut the face with? Scissors. Where are you going to take the scissors from? So you must have, it might happen late, but we must have it there. Say, excuse me, let me go and bring my scissors. It doesn't give you that, So you must take everything with you, especially if you have an ID card. When you come to World Archery, you will get a nice ID card. It's like a passport to us, and you take it to all the events. It's the same thing. If you lose it, you're going to get charged 30 euros for that. So you'll be able to, you have your own thing. It's like the doctors, they have their thing, we have our own things, okay? When you, usually these days, everybody makes a WhatsApp group for any event. Even I made a WhatsApp group for our instructors that when you arrive, you let the organizing committee know that you've arrived, you give your room number, you tell your chairman that I have arrived. When you go and you have a field inspection, in the judge guidebook, I saw some of you were reading today, there are many things. Usually the chairman distributes work between you two, between a few groups. Some people check the lanes, some people check the targets. What is important is that you keep the record of what you do, and if there is anything to be changed, you must have the record until the very last day. If you are checking the bow of a compound person and you want to recheck it 4 days later, you must have it. So I'm going to tell you a very interesting story of what happened in World Championship in Denmark. We had I'm not going to say the country's name, a very professional guy. He was not on my target, he was not. But as I said, you be vigilant. I was watching him. It was an elimination. Actually, he was shooting against an Iranian archer. Not that I was watching the guy because he was from my country. Because it was getting close and I could see from the flip-flops, you check. You check the numbers because, as my friend Indranil said, I might finish my match earlier, but I check on my next judge target. He has 3 targets. They might have a tie, and I might not have a tie. So I will be ready to assist him. Okay? So I noticed this guy was behind, and suddenly this archer, I'm not going to say, he threw his compound bow in a very distinctive way. He threw it behind, and he took another bow, and he started shooting. I thought maybe something wrong with the bow. I noticed from the next end, this guy, the score is coming up. It wasn't my target, I wasn't following it. So when the thing finished, I noticed this guy won. And he's coming to the other stage. I got a little curious. I was not very sure, and I didn't want my chairman to think that maybe I'm being nosy. So I was a little reluctant to ask. So anyway, I waited, and this guy lost the match after 3 ends. So I went to the deputy. I checked the equipment inspection for the compound, and I noticed he only checked 1 bow. Okay? So I thought that, something is up. Anyway, when his match was finished, I went to him and I said, I want to check the poundage of your bow. And the second bow was well over. Okay? So I'm not going to say what happened, but I want to say you keep the records of what you do. Shooting positions, Indranil said earlier, you check. They can only change it on qualification. They must tell the judge, and if they change it, they must also change their positions so you don't get cross-shooting, okay, because of safety. I told you yesterday about shooting signals, and if you are aware, timing is very important. A practical thing to you, everything, usually, when we have shit happening, is usually with a team event, because there are too many things. And if you want to prevent something, it's always the very first end. When you go to the elimination, if the very first end, they make their flip-flop scores, they are going to do it to the last. So on the first end, you take it tight, it's okay. On the first end, if you check the numbers, the arches are correct, you will be okay. And sometimes, I shouldn't say this, or I should. Sometimes just for them to know that I check it, sometimes on the team, when it's so busy, I just go and distinctively, these guys are standing with the coach, I go around, I look behind their back to see that I'm checking their names. So the other teams, they say, oh, this guy, if there's something that you understand that image, they must say this guy is alert. Sometimes when I'm on the team, on the line, I make so much movements, I can tell that the coach in the final matches tells the archers, this guy is on the top, make sure you don't go in too early. I don't do anything, but I can see it, I just go. And the first end this is done, they're not going to make that. It's just the practical things you learn. It's not in the rule book. About holding the time of the tournament, as I said yesterday, sometimes you don't change unnecessarily the target face. We have a lot of the case that there is a problem with the tablet in World Championships. The PDA is not working. If it is taking too much time, to save the time, you tell the archers, make the correct score on the paper, and by the next end they will correct it. Don't keep the competition waiting. So, again, coming to what I told you, usually the archer will not shoot. The archer will say, Judge, it's an organization issue, it's not his fault. If he shoots, he shot. You understand? These are the things we covered. You check the position, and sometimes there is rain. I had this case in a country in Asian. Anyway, there was a lot of problem, and suddenly we used national judges. Suddenly, there was rain, there are things falling, there's electricity going by, and suddenly we have one end that said, let's finish this, and the national judge comes, chairman. I said, what's happened? He said, this archer, the camera is higher than his armpit. So I looked at him and said, now? So what? Let's finish this. Some of the things, you don't make a big fuss from it. You do it when there's time. It shouldn't be, Try to keep the pace of the competition. We discussed this, and the notebook. You must have a notebook to write things on. Sometimes you get back. I had a case on the final when the timer went, or when I give a yellow card, after that I write in my book, second end, recurve, compound, mixed team, I gave a yellow card to this person. If there is an appeal, it is good when you go to the appeal, you have this in writings. Or sometimes there's a problem with the timing, you write, it was like 47 seconds left, just keywords, It's good to have your notebook, and then sometimes you discuss in the meetings on the day. You prepare for tomorrow, so if you don't have a team match tomorrow, you don't need to bring your yellow cards with you. Sometimes in a qualification, you don't need to measure, you do not need to bring your caliper with you, don't take excessive stuff with you. If you're not sure, when I say think ahead, that what is going to happen if there's a tie, you prepare, you ask your chairman. This is what it says. Be ready. Think what can go wrong. A good judge does that. And if you are not sure, you ask. It's much better to ask. Don't leave things to be sorted on the field. The normal things that Indranil went into detail with that, what you should do in the elimination, you show your signal, but as I say, you do everything firmly. You signal the tie, and you keep it at least for 5 seconds. Sometimes there are so many, it's a big line, and your chairman says you don't need to signal because it's just too many. It will not look good if one of you shows a signal of a winner of a tie and the others don't show. So do a uniform thing. Do what your chairman says. As I said yesterday, you show your signal of a winner of a tie in front of your target. You don't go up and down. Okay? You show it firmly. When you want to show the red card, we had in Guangzhou, I saw my friend, she showed it like this. Okay, the coach saw it, but she showed it firmly. Sometimes, as soon as you want to show the yellow card, the archer comes back. It's very fast. He sees and he comes back. So there is no need to, it will look bad if you show it and the archer is not on the line. You know, sometimes it happens instantly. But when you show it firmly. Okay? If you want to shout the name, Bangladesh. Okay? I have had people who do not know the name of the 3-letter word. They don't know what the name of this country is, what to call it. You know? So if you have the case, make sure these are the things to be focused. It's too late, it's bad. You have to give a good image. No, you have to just, and it's a team. And you don't even give it to the person. Even the time is for the team, is mixed. So you must be firm. If you are not sure to give, don't do it. Give the benefit of the doubt. Now, sometimes, so many problems or mistakes happen, or like engineer said, many violations. I just want you to know, if you don't show the red card, it doesn't mean that you cannot take away the score. So remember that is for a TV, that is for the show. Just remember that. So if you're not sure of the timing and it goes beep, it's very simultaneous. If you're not sure, don't show it. Okay? But when you show it, you must stay to your word. You go to the jury, and we had a question here. Sometimes the field is so big, as I told you in Denmark, the speed of the sound, maybe the speaker here is closer to the DOS or further. The line judge, you show you're in control. That's why when we say that somebody is late, you go stand near him. So to be fair, maybe DOS says, no, it was not a late shot. It's your call. It's the line judge. It's a very famous question here. The line judge's decision prevails. Many of the things, they went into detail. This is all general things, and like Karen was saying yesterday, don't shiver. As I told you yesterday, you can have 4 archers in qualification on a world championships, and you can have 24 arrows in the yellow part. And the archers say this one, it is absolutely impossible not to touch it, or give the image that you are doing your best, look from both sides, and it should not take more than 6-7 seconds. But give that trust that you did your very best, and you look from both sides and you call it. If you take 10 seconds trying to get in there, you're out. And sometimes problem and the news travels fast. We had an issue in one of the Asia Cups this year. Judge made a mistake. In less than 1 hour, I received many emails or calls. I received somebody from Spain, a friend of mine from Spain was watching. He said, what happened? Word goes fast. So you must be aware, and it doesn't look good. So there is not much I want to cover on this. This was all general things. All the hard part my colleagues did. But I just want you to remember a few things before we take Q&A. The very first thing you always do, remember some keywords. Is this equipment or what this judge did, does he or she get an advantage? What kind of advantage they take? Time advantage? Scoring advantage? We have some very clever archers, and sometimes it's not, they don't do it by intention. We were talking about an archer shooting on another person's target. We have a Galantine from USA, my friend, in a World Cup. He didn't want to, by mistake, a very professional archer shot on somebody else's face. So he's not going to make an advantage, but it happens. But we had a case that a professional archer shot an extra arrow and it was a miss in a big qualification round. Then he looked around and he said, nobody's watching. So he shoots another one. Nobody knows. And he gets away with it. Yes, yes. But, and you know, I'm not going to say the next day the arrow was found and blah, blah. So this is not fair, you know. So we don't want to get, so this is the first one. The second one, the archer is not supposed to be penalized by a mistake of organizational issues. If he doesn't shoot, he will get time. We are very concerned with the word reshoot is a red line for us judges. It's very important. Another thing, if an archer or a team shoots in his own time, the extra arrow gets the lowest. You must understand the difference between the lowest and taking out the highest. It's a different thing, okay? Even in a team match, if they shoot in a simultaneous 7, no red card, okay? You must understand that out of sequence means when it is not your time, okay? Only 2 cases that you cross the number of the point and put M and keep it is out of time or out of sequence. On that case, on the scorecard, the arrow is on the left, but on the other time when you give a miss, the miss is on the left, on the other times the miss becomes on the right. Try and have the correct order. Coming to the fact that when it is not the organization fault, or sometimes it's like we had a World Cup, and sometimes it's too windy, and between the line and the target, we have this Kia, Hyundai, and suddenly the wind, in the middle of a match, suddenly the wind blew and threw one of them. Yes, in the middle. So this is not an organizational issue, it happened. And the archer shot. So they come and ask, no, they shot, and it happens. Sometimes it's bad luck. Sometimes you're on the, I've seen it, like you're on the line and not on, how do you say, not on purpose, just by mistake. When this archer is about to go, The next archer is shooting, his arrow hit this guy and he came out of hand. And you even see it. It is not in the rules that it's just bad luck. You cannot let him reshoot. You understand? Everything is not in the rules. You have to be thinking, does he get any advantage? What can we do to help him? Sometimes we cannot help him. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.